Hey everyone, it's Bearded RDU coming to you from Raleigh, North Carolina, and welcome to episode 4 of Beards and More. This episode is going to be a little bit different than the previous two where I reviewed beard products. This one's going to be focusing more on motivating you to look within yourself and focus on what you are, who you are, and building your brand. Where did I get this idea of building your brand as being who you are as a person? This comes from my background as a varsity football coach. Now, I've dealt with lots of great coaches. They've taught me great lessons, whether it was while I was a player or while I've been coaching. The last coach that I coached under, Coach Ken Blocker, in Raleigh, North Carolina, he used a lesson to teach the boys, the student athletes that we had, the young men, to build their brand, to focus on who they were as a brand. Now, most of these players, being young and being in their teens, they kind of focused more on like their image. I kind of looked at it more intrinsically, and that I looked that it's more than what's on the surface. It's so much more. But there was one student athlete that really got me to think even deeper, and that was a young man by the name of Daniel Bryant. We called him Dirty D, and Dirty D has gone on to build his brand. This is one of the most amazing young men I've ever met. I will hopefully have him on one of my future episodes where I'll interview him. We'll talk a little bit about life in general. And he has gone on and created his own motivational speaking and to endorse HBCUs and to help motivate and empower young men. Matter of fact, that is what his brand name is Motivated and Empowered, or ME exclamation mark. His story is fantastic. He had to deal with so much. He was a great student. He was a great athlete. He is just one of those all around just great kids that you just want to like hug all the time. Whenever you see him, he's got this big smile on his face. He ended up getting into a major auto accident where the car flipped, caught on fire, and he suffered third-degree burns. He was in the ICU, and some people thought that there may not have been a chance for him to survive. He fought through this, and within about 4 months, actually I think it was less than 4 months, he was actually cleared to play his senior year of high school football. And he took that as a lesson to kind of look more within himself and see what else he could do. He was definitely more than just that football player, than that student. He was more than just Dirty D, and he has figured that out by creating his own organization called Motivated and Empowered, which is exactly what it sounds like. He's trying to motivate people and empower people. He's doing fantastic things. You should check him out. I'll put his Instagram in the description for this video, so check him out. So anyways, Dirty D motivated me to look a little bit deeper. I never really put life into perspective, but this whole concept of building your brand and seeing what Dirty D's doing made me focus on life so much different than I had ever looked at before. And this has actually developed me into being the man I am today and motivated me to create this YouTube channel and to go through these adventures in this journey of beard products and reviews and motivationals. So to Dirty D, thank you so much. I'm going to be talking about building your brand next. So before I go and talk about building your own brand or what your personal brand is, let's talk about what it means to have a brand. And we'll do this on a very basic level that you are probably very familiar with, and that is at the corporate level or with companies. It can be big corporations, it can be small local companies. But when we look at a company and we ask you, what is that company's brand? Most people are going to talk about the products they sell. And if a company relies on one specific product, it's probably not a strong company. It's not going to last very long. So they have a variety of products. With those products, they don't just stay content. They're always trying to improve those products. They might even change their products. They might get rid of products. So that's part of their brand. But part of their brand is also their executive decisions, their advertising. What does the CEO say? We know that if a CEO makes a bold statement, whether it's politics, religion, race, whatever it is, that can drastically impact the brand and affect whether that brand is successful. And when we look at ourselves, we can say our brand is very similar. So now let's talk about your brand. What do people know you for? When someone asked about you, what would they say about you? For me, they would probably say he's a husband, he's a father, he's a teacher, he's actually the announcer on Friday nights, he used to coach football, he used to play football, he's happy, he's a family man, He loves pro wrestling, he's bald, he's got a beard. There's so much on the surface that people could say about me. So what do people say about you? Now, what would happen if one of those things that people say about you, one of those titles they give to you, or one of those things that you're really well known for, disappeared? Would you have anything left? Would you be known for something? Or do you just rely on one specific thing? That's a big part of your brand. That's the surface of your brand. Your brand is also more than just those titles that people gave to you or what they see on the surface. Your brand is also your everyday decisions. What did you say? What did you do? Who are your friends? What's the company you keep? Who did you hang out with? When someone made a ruckus, did you stick around? Did you leave? And the thing about this is every little thing you say or do influences your brand. Now, when it comes to building your brand, I could bore you with Maslow's theory, which I'm going to put right there so you can see. The whole point of Maslow's theory is for self-actualization and achieving your fullest potential. There's a lot of things that you need to do to focus to receive that full potential. But understand that that destiny, that self-actualization, that goal, that will change as you get older. So as your goal changes, your potential changes, you've also got to change your product, your brand on the surface that we just got done talking about. Now, in regards to Maslow's theory, which I just talked to you about, sometimes we reach that top of the pyramid, but sometimes we've got to go back a step. Sometimes we've got to drop from the top because we've got to realize that that's not our brand anymore and that that's not our fullest potential, that we're constantly growing as people. So our brand is constantly changing. Our brand from high school is most likely different than the brand you had in college, which is most likely different than the brand you had when you first became a young professional. Then when you get married and you have kids, if that's part of your plan, that changes your brand. And as you add those things, you've got to take a step back and relook at what your potential is. What is your actual final goal that you want? What do you want to be known for? Remember, our brand is not constant. Our brand is going to constantly be changing. Hopefully your brand that you were in high school, the brand that people knew you for, has changed as you've gotten older. As we get older, we have more responsibilities, we have families, we have jobs, we have bills. So our brand has changed as we've gotten older. And because of this, sometimes we have to remove parts in order to focus more. That's part of the reason why I stepped down from coaching. And I even told my football players, I was like, look, this is not because I don't like you. This is not because I dislike the game of football and just because my heart's not into it. It's because my job as a coach was more than just X's and O's. My job was to teach them how to be responsible young men, responsible fathers, responsible husbands. And if I couldn't do that myself, how could I teach them to do that? So I had to remove that part from my brand and I modified it. I'm still part of the program, but I had to modify it so I could give my full devotion and heart to my family and make sure they had what they need, especially as my kids get older and become more involved. These personal choices that I've made have impacted my brand, and when I look at it, they've actually influenced me in such a positive manner that it's allowed me to have this aspect, this channel, this creative release. As I mentioned earlier, your personal choices, bad or good, influence your brand. But understand everything you do, your social media posts. If you're constantly posting negative things on social media, that's what your brand becomes. And when people see that, it makes it harder for you to get to that self-actualization, to get to that full potential that you're achieving, unless you want to be known for negative comments, if you want to be that person. If you're constantly posting positive stuff, you're going to be labeled as someone that's positive. So try to think deeper. I'm not telling you what to post. I'm not telling you what to do. What I'm recommending, though, is that you think before you do, because sometimes when you just do stuff, it ends up having a negative impact on your brand and achieving your fullest potential. Things you do with money, what you spend money on, that impacts your brand. Your relationships, how do you deal with your spouse, your significant other, your children? How do you relate to others, your bosses, your coworkers? That's all part of your brand. Now, I'm not telling you that everything you do is got to be carefully thought out, because sometimes we don't have that time. But after you make a decision, look back at it, reflect. Personal reflection is huge as part of your brand. So what I want you to do now is I want you to think about your brand. Who are you as a person? What is your brand? What are your roles? What are your titles? Are you a parent? Are you a father? Are you a husband? Are you a wife? Are you a content creator? Are you a beard product connoisseur? What is your brand? Are you able to achieve your fullest potential with what you've got? Maybe you have to remove something. Maybe you need to add something, but you need to reflect. Think about this. Also, think about the people that you surround yourself with. Are they helping or hurting you achieve your potential? Are they good or bad for your self-esteem? If you've got friends that are constantly tearing you down, even though you might be friends with them for your entire life, they may be someone you want to pull back from. I'm not saying stop being friends with them, but maybe pull back and not do as much with them. Think about the things that you're posting on social media and YouTube. Are they focusing on the things that you want to achieve, the things you want to create, or are you focusing on other people? Whether it's good focus or bad focus on other people, reflect the things that you're doing, that you're posting, and think to yourself, is this helping improve your brand? That's the brand you should be concerned about, is your brand. And are these things helping that? If you're struggling to find your brand and you're really having a difficult time achieving your fullest potential or the goals you want, look at some of the things that maybe you've been doing for a long time. Maybe you've been doing them for years. Look at those and see if that's impacting your decision. Maybe you need to change something up, because the definition of insanity is doing the same stuff over and over again and expecting different results. Maybe we need to modify something. I'm not saying get rid of it, but modify it and see if it works. And if it doesn't, no harm, no foul. You weren't achieving that goal to begin with, but you never know until you try. Only you know what you want to achieve. The best way to achieve your fullest potential is to constantly reevaluate the different roles that you are known for, the different things that you're responsible for. Constantly look and reflect and reevaluate the friends you're keeping, the things you're saying, the things you're doing. If any of those pieces are preventing you from achieving your fullest potential, you need to become your own personal CEO. You need to make the executive decision to adjust those things, so your brand will represent the best you at this moment. Remember, the best you from the past is probably not the best you in the present, which is most likely not going to be the best you in the future. So constantly reflect, look at who you are, and make sure you have the best brand you can possibly have. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching this video. This truly is who I am. This is what I represent. And hopefully I've been able to encourage and motivate you to reflect and reevaluate the decisions you're making to help you achieve your fullest potential. Maybe you're someone that's close to achieving your fullest potential, and this is just a good reminder to help remind you to reflect. But even if you're someone that's struggling, understand that I'm here. If you need to reach out and just have someone to listen to, or maybe provide you some resources of people that can help you, please reach out to me on Instagram at bearded_RDU. Or you can email me at bearded.rdu@gmail.com. Also, if you like this video, please hit that thumbs up. It's always great to get that feedback. It means that I'm having a positive impact on people. Please leave comments down below if you've got any feedback for me, or if you just want to leave me a message. Also, if you're really enjoying what I'm doing, please hit that subscribe button and then also ring that bell to get notifications. So once again, thank you so much, and until next time, rock on.